Guys, 3 new heroes were just released on test server in Watcher of Realms, and they are coming very soon to your server. Doesn't matter where it is, these guys are coming, and they are strong, and they should be a lot of fun. So before I break down each kit, which we're going to do in this video, I want to show you guys what they look like in action, because they're all kind of extremely unique heroes. Malrik over here and Talon especially, we've never seen anything like it. And then for an epic, we've never seen anything like Faelin over here. So this should be a lot of fun. Everyone's not geared. I just want you to see them on the map from the get, so you have something tangible to wrap your mind around. So let's start with Talon. She will be on Raid Up not this weekend, but next weekend. So it's like 5 days from today. No, actually, she's coming on the Friday or Thursday or Friday. So next Thursday or Friday. But we've never seen this before. She's a tactical mastery marksman. And look at that. You can deploy her on any deployable tile. She can be either a platformer or a melee unit. So if she's on the platform, she stays like this. She's like a cool marksman. Obviously, she's gonna do no damage because she's not wearing anything. Very cool kit. We're gonna break it down. But then you can deploy her on a melee tile, and she's a druid. Kind of like from the Dungeons and Dragons movie with Chris Pine, if you've seen it. She's like the cute little druid, but then her melee form, she becomes this polar bear, interesting dragon with antlers. It's just really cool. Next up, I want to show you Malrik over here. So he's got this kind of fire and ice thing going on. So when you deploy him, he will be in ice mode. You can kind of see that over his head. Excuse me, fire mode. That's just like the symbol above his head. If you place a platformer next to him, like anywhere within his attack range, so this 3x4, he's in blizzard mode now, right? So he goes from his firestorm to his blizzards. Now he's in ice mode. And then he's got this interesting thing called the Wizard's Rune. I guess that's what that logo kind of is that appears above his head. So excuse me for that. But then you'll see here, if we place a melee unit, what's gonna happen, we'll place Gon here. He's going to be in fire mode, right? So you can toggle him essentially based on who the first ally you place in his range is. So if that is a melee, then he's going to be fire mode. And if it's a platformer, then it's going to be blizzard mode. Finally, let's restart one more time. I just want to show you Faelin. This is an epic. She's very cool. You'll see with the kit, she does magic res reduction, which is essentially defense break for magic damage. And on top of that, she does very consistent AoE poison, which actually looks to be very strong. And she's an epic with Ajax range, aka Ajax range. Look at that range for an epic. That is pretty tremendous. And I gotta say, as someone tied to Cratch, I am offended that an epic is basically getting Cratch range and then an extra row of 5 tiles. I mean, what is going on here? So let's head into the gallery right now and let's discuss all their kits quickly. I don't want this video to be endlessly long, but as you might imagine, especially with the really unique thing with Malrik, the Gandalf kind of character we saw toggling between his 2 blizzard mode and fire mode, his 2 kind of stances modes, and then obviously Talon being the first ever unit that can be deployed either as a melee or a platformer. There's kind of a lot to get into. So let's kick it off with Talon, because she's the one that's coming first. She will be on Raid Up. It's either Thursday or Friday. I think it's Thursday. It's right after the Honora banner begins. So I guess it must be Thursday. Here's Talon. So this is something we've seen a little bit, this dual faction combination on a marksman, Watcher, and Piercer. The ones that come to my head immediately, it's Alora, Idril, Brienne. Hopefully she's so much better than Laura. She is caked up to the high heavens. Oh my God. First time I'm getting a look at that. Let's get right into the kit. So the tags they put on her, she's single target attack, multi-target. She's got defense break, so defense penetration. The same way Faelin, the epic we're going to discuss, has like magic break, right? Magic res reduction. And then she has some hard control. She's got a talent here. Increases attack by 15% in battle. So when she's deployed, her attack is up 15%. That's great. Let's actually check those base stats right now. Amazingly high base attack. This actually, I believe, without Awakenings, is the highest base attack of any marksman in the game. The highest I can think of is like Yovar and Lady Alex, but I think they're at like the 42 range. Maybe Lady Alex is higher. Let me actually check. So Yovar's at 42.55, and then Lady Alex, is she the highest? Let's see. She comes 42.91. Okay, so she actually, this is number 1. That's really cool. So Talon, she gets a boost, post-deployment. She's going to get this base boost of attack by 15%, but she's starting already with over 4,300. So compared to a mage or certainly a fighter, that's not much, but for a marksman, that is a ton. So she's going to get that whenever she's deployed in battle. Can be deployed both on platform and ground tiles, as you guys saw, which is amazingly unique. When deployed on ground tiles, she transforms into her Berserker stance, aka Polar Bear with Antlers. When she's in that stance, it reduces her attack range, so it becomes like a melee range, and her attack speed, so it's more in line with a fighter, as opposed to, you can see when she's in marksman mode, she has that typical 2.0 second basic attack interval, or base attack interval, I should say. We go here, her block then increases, because you don't need block as a marksman, but this is basically when she becomes a melee character. Now she gets 3 block, which is pretty cool for a fighter, right? The only fighter that comes to mind with base 3 block is Yankar, and then also her max HP doubles. 80% of her attack becomes defense, really cool. She's a 20% chance to inflict, let me pop that back open, vulnerability physical damage, and she loses her ability to hit airborne units. So she becomes a fighter, basically a tanky hybrid polar bear antler fighter. Let's go to the basic now. Here it's magic damage. She's a magic damage dealer. 100% damage to one enemy, and she's got that typical range, that 3x1. I'm assuming at max level, yes, it fills out to be a 3x4, so very standard of a single target marksman. If we go to the ultimate now, when this is activated, and let's actually break this down, it's 900 cost. It can with skill ups, it goes down to 800. Duration is 15 seconds. With skill ups, it goes to 20 seconds, so pretty darn good. When activated, it reduces the attack interval by 40%. And with skill ups, that goes up to 50%, so cuts the attack interval in half. So with a 2.0 second base interval, if you're using her as a marksman, you could build her with 1.0 seconds. When she's ulting, it will be 0.5 seconds. She's going to be rapid fire, and attacks are going to ignore 60% of magic resistance. When she's in the melee stance, the Berserker Polar Bear stance, this effect will be replaced with the following. Increases her attack by 40%. This skills up to 50%, and all damage reduction by 20%. Really, really nice. She can also dispel a debuff from the hero every 5 seconds, so she's kind of cleansing herself. And when she takes direct damage, she restores 5% of her max HP for herself and adjacent allies. Looks like it's scaling off of each individual hero's HP. But this is all very unique, very cool. So she's the kind of hero I'm going to have to get in and actually test her. They only just made her accessible to us now. Or at least we had permission to go and try them out now. That's why this is pretty fresh to me. But at worst, she's going to be quite good because she's so unique. And just like being the one of one at something is important. But then at best, she might be this unique and be broken good. We're going to have to see. I'm going to tell you, though, I'm going to go nuts on this banner. Her and Lyra Awakenings are so important. I'm going to put like 1,000+ summons on this banner. I'm going to tell you right now. Really cool ultimate. Let's go to the first passive here, Nature's Fury. Every 10 attacks launched, the next attack deals 480% damage and dispels 1 buff on the target. When the ultimate is activated, the effect is guaranteed to be triggered 1 time. Really nice. So we got a new buff Dispeller, and this is kind of like clockwork every 10 attacks, and we know she can go really fast. This can actually go down to every 8 attacks. When she's in the Berserker stance, the melee stance, this effect is replaced with the following. Attacks have a 15% chance. It skills up to a 25% chance of triggering Ground Stomp. I'm assuming this is going to have a stun. It does. Big AoE physical damage. 340% is nice because that's going to be happening frequently if we're going to get her attacking quickly, which we would like to do. And also during the ultimate, her damage range expands in the melee form, and she's doing 1 second stuns. So that's really nice. Let's go to the next passive here. It's an auto Iron Bark. So this is upon herself. When deployed, she gains 1 stack of Thorned Shield every 20 seconds, up to 10 stacks. So this gives her 2% attack and 2% defense. Really nice. So if you get 10 stacks, it's 20% of each. They can go up to 15 stacks, so it's 30% of each. And the cooldown goes from 20 seconds to 15 seconds. So for long fights, this is going to be really good. Like something like Semra, this could have some real potential. Each time Nature's Fury is triggered, so that's the passive. This guy over here, each time that is triggered, reduces the cooldown by 5 seconds. Okay, great. So it starts at 15 with skill ups, and then it can clock all the way down to, I guess it's going to stop at 5. I can't imagine it goes to just 0 and maxed out. While in Berserker stance, this effect is replaced with the following. Reduces the cooldown by 1 second for every 1 time she is healed, up to 1 time every 2 seconds. All right, another way to bring it down. Kind of a confusing way they wrote that. I'm shockingly intrigued. We'll do the Awakenings really, really fast, but I want to move on to every single hero. We've still got to talk about Malrik and Faelin. So for every 1 stack of Thorn Shield, the auto passive we just discussed, She's going to increase her damage by 2%. Remember, this can go up to 15 freaking stacks. So that's a 30% damage boost. What a good A1. Plus 300 base attack. I did not expect that on the A2. That puts her up over 4,600 base attack as a marksman. I guess they're giving her some grace here, extra attack, since they're kind of giving her the treatment like this 4,300, 4,600 is in line with a magic damage dealing fighter. So but she's getting that benefit as a marksman, right? Like that's significantly higher than anyone else in the game for a marksman. But I guess because they're treating her as both a marksman and a fighter, she's getting some base stat pluses. The A3 here increases her initial rage by 300. If I remember correctly, that means it's an insta ult, because I believe it was 800 and 500. Yeah, this skill's down to 800 and it starts at 500. So it's an insta ult. It costs 800 and she's got 800. And then what else? Increases the stack cap of Thorn Shield by 5 and gains 2 stacks with each ultimate. So you can stack a lot faster at the beginning. And wow, yeah, getting 5 more stacks. Now you can get 20 stacks, right? Because yeah, with skill ups, it was going up to 15. And what was it? Yeah, it's 2% each. So it's 40% base attack after deployment and 40% defense. Really, 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 really good. A4, we get penetration, pretty standard. And then A5, every 1 stack of the Thorn Shield reduces the hero's AoE damage taken by 1%. So she's got this nice balance of DPS tankiness, a little crowd control, and obviously crazy versatility. When Thorn Shield reaches full stacks, the hero survives when receiving fatal damage. The first time after each deployment, she's going to restore 50% HP. So she gets like a second life. So kind of like the best tanks in the game. So she should have ability as like a very interesting marksman, a very interesting fighter, and kind of like a fighter tank hybrid. Really, really great place to start. What a fun freaking hero. Let's go to Esotericists now, because I think this is going to cover the rest. I think I thought incorrectly. What is Failen's faction? Give me one moment. Let's go down to the mages. Faelin is going to show up as, she is an Esotericist. I guess I was right. I just didn't recognize her. Well, we're here now. I know people might be most hyped for Malrik because he's crazy, so let's save him for last. Faelin's also the simplest of this 3. When inflicting poison, and she does inflict a lot of poison, it's going to also immediately be paired with magic resurrection, and the duration is 10 seconds. So if she can have any consistency to her poison, we're getting AoE minus 20% magic res. That is a great magic res break. One of the better ones in the game. You know, it's not on the level of like a Lyra or Iax, but Lyra obviously single target, and Iax is kind of placement conditional. It's a 2-tile radius around him in a circle. So this should have a lot of potential to be one of the better magic defense breaks in the game. Really like that. So the basic here hits up to 5 enemy targets. She's got that big Ajax Iax range. Goes up to 110% damage. Quite standard for an epic. Now here, what is this? This is a spammy move. Look at this. Look at this. 200 cost, 200 initial cost. So you get to insta ult, and then it's on a quick cycle. Probably the fastest cycle of any mage in the whole game. It's going to deal 100% damage. This scales up to 140% damage 3 times. So 3 instances of that damage AoE. To random enemies within a short time, inflicting 1 stack of poison with each hit. And now with skill ups, you can also go up to 5 instances of damage. So it's going to kind of randomly spatter throughout that range, but that is a lot because it's going to spam quickly. It only costs 200, so 5 instances of damage. You know what it is? It's going to knock me. Each instance will be a single target instance, but they spread in a random AoE pattern. That's how it's going to happen. But you get 5 instances of damage at 140% tick. So kind of cool. Also, if there's only 1 or 2 or 3 enemies, it can hit some of them multiple times, and you're going to get stacks of poison with each hit. And those poisons last 10 seconds, and they come with a magic break, magic defense break, magic resurrection that lasts 10 seconds as well. Pretty dang cool. She's going to help people at the very least in Gear Raid 1. She should be really, really strong, especially with that magic resurrection, essentially AoE. And then finally, when an enemy inflicted with poison placed by this hero dies, deals 150% damage, goes up to 230% damage. AoE damage 1 time to up to 8 surrounding enemies, so kind of like a little poison explosion at the end. It's solid. I think the magic resurrection is what's most exciting and how low an ult cost this is. So you could build her really fast with a lot of rage regen, and you should put out a ton of poisons and have very, very good uptime on this while still putting out some decent damage. Let's check the stats here. Okay, really typical of an epic mage. 32, 29. It's fine. I'm curious about the awakenings. This is very important because everyone will be able to get her A5 as an epic eventually. The ultimate has a 30% chance to instantly restore 50% rage upon use. I love that. So 3 out of 10 times, the next ult is only going to cost 100 rage instead of the very low already 200. Please be attack. Plus 5% attack. It's okay, but scaling off of 3200, that's 160. You just wish it was the plus 200 some epics get. It is what it is. A3, I love this. Now she's inflicting slow. That's huge. Spectral Rot, that must be her ultimate. No, it isn't. Okay, it's this over here. So when you get the kill, you get the slow. There's gonna be a lot of RNG to that. If she gets the pick off, if someone else does, who actually gets the kill. But nice. Is it a big slow? No, it's the half slow, 50%. 2 seconds is solid. A4, a little rage regen autos. This is a 1 extra tick of rage per second. And then the A5, when Spectral Rot, this is the passive, is triggered, inflicts 1 extra stack of poison on all affected enemies. A lot of this is kind of conditional on her being the one to get the kill, which, I don't know. With a lot of AoE content, you know who's actually going to have that happen. But at worst, she's going to be a pretty good epic addition. At best, she could be, one of the better epic magic damage dealers. So quite excited to try her out. I'll definitely make a guide on her. I'm sure we'll do a Gear Aid 1 showcase. All right. The moment a lot of you have been waiting for. Malrik, Gandalf, as I've heard many people on Discord calling him. And let's be honest, yes, he's kind of had the brown hair. It's not yet really Gandalf the Grey or something. But with that pipe and with this staff, this is copyright infringement. Say it with me, folks. Let's get into it. The talent. The hero gains 20% damage increase, grants Wizard's Rune to the next hero deployed in attack range. This effect can only be triggered 1 time per deployment. This is really important because the Wizard's Rune is like the crux of his whole kit. When Wizard's Rune is granted to an allied platform hero, his fire form is replaced by frost form. So he goes from that fireball stance I was saying to the blizzard effect. So the way you trigger that transformation to the frost form, the blizzard form, that is through making sure the first ally deployed in his range is a platformer. Pretty interesting stuff. What is Wizard's Rune? This is a strictly unique thing in the game. It is essentially like inspiration meets increase stat, but it's for multiple things, right? So increases attack, defense, HP of the rune bearer. So whomever he gives the Wizard's Rune to, it's scaling off of them though, not off of Malrik, but it's 10% for all of those stats. And I'd be very curious to test it out. I would like to think this is post-deployment, not scaling off of base. Likely it is going to scale off of base, but really cool. Especially imagine you're putting this on someone who has crazy base stats, like an Ardia or a Uridin or a Valderon. That could be really, really powerful. But you're going to want to be careful who you give it to, because is that who you want to be buffed? And whether they're a platformer or a melee, ground unit or a platform unit, that will determine what form he is in. So we got his basic attack here, 100% damage, goes up to 120% damage, nice little single target, 3x4 range. The ultimate, this is a 800 cost, skills down to 700 costs, 15 second duration goes up to 20 seconds. When you activate the ultimate, it increases his attack by 30% for 15 seconds, and this goes up to 20 seconds. During this time, transforms all his basics into either Fireball or Blizzard. This is dependent upon what form you triggered him in. So whether you deployed that ground unit first in his range or the platformer. By the way, if he's the last deployed and there's no one in range, his default is the fire. So the Fireball does 80% damage to one enemy in range 3 times and inflicts burning. So all his basic attacks are going to do that. And then the Blizzard is AoE 120% up to 5 enemies and inflicts Winter's Bite. This guy's feeling like maybe a bit of a GVG menace, getting this kind of DPS with this support and now with the annoying RNG that is Winter's Bite. Let's take a moment to check out the base stats. Yeah, very typical of a single target legendary mage. First passive here, Elemental Covenant. While in the same form, every 5 seconds, basic attacks trigger either Fire Blast or Ice Storm. So again, it depends if he's in Fire form or Frost form. 1 time. If no basic attack is launched for 5 seconds, the next attack is guaranteed to trigger this effect. So he won't waste it. He'll have it like locked and loaded if he has no one to attack for 5 seconds. So the Fire Blast is going to do 320% damage 1 time to 1 enemy in range. This is kind of the more single target thing. And then the Frost Storm's more the AoE. So this goes up to 400%. And then the Ice Storm is going to be 25% AoE damage 1 time per second to the target and 5 surrounding enemies for 4 seconds. So essentially six units, right? There's the main target and then 5 enemies. 4 seconds, 50% chance to inflict a Winter's Bite. I guess with every tick over those 4 seconds, that could be a full stack. So you could get all 3 in those 4 seconds theoretically. And this damage goes up another 20%, so 45% per second. That'll be really nice and again, really pesky. I'm thinking this guy will be a GVG defense menace. The final passive here, Rune Mastery. When casting the ultimate, restores 5% rage to the heroes granted with the wizard rune. It says the heroes granted with the wizard rune, but am I confused? Is it not just 1 unit? It just grants Wizard's Rune to the next hero deployed in attack range. I think that might be a typo. We'll have to test it out, but I think Wizard Rune is like a singular thing to give to 1 unit. Permanently increases the hero's attack by 3%. Pretty nice. The attack increase can be gained up to 5 times for each battle. If no one is granted with runes, restores an extra 5% rage for the hero. Does this mean every unit put in his range, he'll just keep giving runes? It's like the next one and the next one and the next one? That takes him to a whole nother level, and that's kind of what this is making it sound like. That's crazy. If no one's granted with runes, restores 5% rage for the hero. Okay, and this all scales up, so the rage goes up to 10% and the attack goes up to 5%. This guy, it's a confusing kit, but there's a lot of strength here. These are going to be confusing awakenings. Let's go pretty fast now. I'll move myself out of the way. The A1, Elemental Covenant is enhanced. So that was, I believe, the first passive. Yes. So the Fire Blast deals an extra 60% damage. This was the single target thing. And now you're getting magic vulnerability. Please be big. Only 10%. At least it's something. The Ice Storm, this is in Frost Storm, now is going to put out Freeze. So you're getting Winter's Bite, Freeze, and that nice AoE tick and damage over time. I believe it was the 45 per second. Reduces his interval as well by 0.3 seconds. And then increases the chance of Winter's Bite. Mamma mia. A2 plus 300 attack, we like that, nice and simple. Increases speed boost gained from attack speed by 20%, so it's a bit of specialized attack speed, so he just scales better. His attack interval goes down more for each extra tick of attack speed relative to your average normal hero in this game. And then A4, penetration 8%, typical. A5, he gains an extra 10% damage increase, just flat. When either the hero or a hero granted with Wizard Rune dies, they apply Wizard's Incantation. Is this a revive or something? Yeah, 1 time you prevent death. If a carrier takes fatal damage, so that's either him or whomever has the rune, dispels all debuffs on them and restores 50% of their max HP. We got some good new heroes coming to Watch of Realms, guys. We really do. This is something to be excited about. I hope you guys are pumped. I certainly am. This video was a lot of fun to film, I'm going to be honest. I'd done a very quick peek, but this was nice to get a cool, nice look. Talon, I think, Malrik reads to me as maybe the max potential of this bunch, but Talon just looks so cool. I love the D&D thing where she's becoming this antler polar bear lady, and I love that she's paired with Lyra on a banner, so I can go crazy trying to get a bunch of copies of both of them. Guys, let me know who you are most excited for, if you think these are all good new additions to the game. I think it's fun for sure that we're getting a new epic. Hopefully, like every month, we get at least 1 new epic. That'd be a great trend for the game to be headed. Let me know all your thoughts. I've been Fastidious. Subscribe to the channel, share with your mother, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.
Fastidious.